The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking to me. Do you think that you could repeat the question?
Still trying to get this out.
Listen more attentively. There must have been
Come on.
something in all of that nothing that wasn't quite so easy to see. And I must have missed something when you were just talking to me. I must have not been paying attention when you were busy slamming the door.
I made it before you did today.
Guess the things that pass for affection.
It doesn't count if you just haven't been to bed at all, though.
There must have been something.
If you're just running on fumes.
Yeah, I am. And there's no fumes left to run on either.
Is that your phone?
It is.
Once we get rolling, I'll go get you that coffee that I left over there on the bench.
Thank you.
How am I the disorganized one today? That doesn't happen. I believe in you. You can do it.
How's that for no sleep in 2 days and I hit all 4 bars?
You're a champion.
We're getting donations while we're sitting here. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
This is the craziest this has ever been. I heard something, but I didn't know what it was.
I always like to test the if it's working online, like if sound and everything is going out to the public so you can hear the speaker.
Of the week.
Can you do it again? Wow.
Twice in a row.
You work well on no sleep.
Maybe I should sleep less.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said that to me, but maybe I should sleep less. I can get my sponsors up. I'm so not ready.
That's all right.
Doing scholarship stuff all week.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan with the Paying Attention Podcast. Hi, atop Two Guys Smoke Shop at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. Now, if you followed me even a little bit on Facebook over the last month, you're probably sick of hearing about this Valley Patriot bash that we keep talking about. Because if you're not really involved and you're not really interested in coming, you kind of look at it and you go, oh, well, I'm not really interested in that. And then you keep seeing it over and over and over again. You're probably sick of it. But those who are interested, those who are coming tomorrow night at the Firefighters Relief Inn, 1 Market Street in Lawrence. I want to thank the Lawrence Firefighters Union. I want to thank Jimmy Driscoll, everybody over at the Firefighters Relief Inn. They take care of us every year. Tomorrow night, the program starts at 7 o'clock. And I would get there early because every year we have a line at the door. And we're trying this year to get rid of the line on the door by selling enough tickets in advance. So if you have a ticket in your hand, you don't have to wait in line. There'll be 2 lines. There'll be 1 line for people that need to buy tickets. And if you have tickets, you get in the other line. They'll just breeze you right through. There'll be almost no wait at all. We have got an incredible night for you tomorrow night. Thank you so much. I don't know why I have my Taco Bell bag up here. We have an incredible night for you tomorrow night. I don't know if you've been watching these scholarships, but if you're just kind of paying attention to this whole thing, every year we do scholarships for, well, it started off with 1 kid. Back in 2010, we gave $100 to a kid named Devontae Jones, and we thought that was like $1 million. We're like, hey, this kid's got $100 to pay for an application fee or something that he wasn't anticipating, and we thought we did a really good thing. Well, that has evolved over the years. We've added scholarships as we go. Jessica Finicaro came to me in 2011. She's a member of the Methuen City Council. At the time, she was on the Greater Lawrence Vogue School Committee. And she came to me and she said, Tom, I'm on the Voc school committee. You went to the Voc your first 2 years. Why don't we do a Voc scholarship? And I was like, sounds good to me. Let's make it work for next year. And we did. And it has now evolved. We've got 7 scholarships that we're giving out tomorrow night. Actually, that's not exactly true, though, because we have 2 surprise scholarships that we're giving out tomorrow night. One is for a Salem, New Hampshire student, and I can't tell you any more about that because it is a surprise. And the other one is for a Lawrence student who's going to the Greater Lawrence Tech. So we're going to end up with 2 Lawrence Tech kids tomorrow. And that student got me her application late. And so Jessica had already picked Ariel Cavaretta for the Voc, and there was no way I was taking that away from her. And I looked at the application that came in late and said, given who it is, I would have picked her right away because everybody knows her, and she's wonderful. And so I said, you know what, we can't put her on the scholarship program, but let's quietly make some phone calls to all of our friends and see if we could put like a side pool together of money that we can start off the night and surprise her with a scholarship. So she's not going to get what Ariel's getting, but she's going to get something significant. So we actually have 9 scholarships. We're going to talk about 7. And in order to do that, I really need to pull it up. But before I pull it up, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank McLennan Real Estate, Century 21, Matt McLennan, and Janet and everybody over there. We love them. I'm hoping we're going to see them at the Bash. I haven't heard from them yet. And I think I did reach out, but they're as busy as I am. I mean, they're running the world over there selling real estate in this market. The Zani Pesci Law Office, who I always forget to mention, but we love them. And Jana Zani Pesci, the most beautiful woman alive, is going to be our MC tomorrow night. And wait until you see what she looks like. If you've never seen Jana Zani Pesci, you're gonna listen to this. You're going to hear me say she's the most beautiful woman alive. And you're going to go, oh, come on, Tom, please. Wait till you get in the room tomorrow night and see what she looks like. You're going to be out of your mind. But be careful, because her husband's going to be there, Vinny. Now, I have permission to marry Jana, but you're going to need permission from Vinny if you want to try and steal her away from me. Marsain and Son Construction. I want to thank Ronnie Marsain for donating to our scholarships again this year and all the things he does for veterans. Joe Solomon and EIS Investigation and Gun Trading bought a table, donated raffle items, kicked in money for the scholarships. I don't care what anybody says about that guy. That guy's the best in my eyes. Borelli's Deli. I had my good friend Ryan DeZoglio from the Methuen School Committee drop off some tickets for Don Smeriglio over at Borelli's Deli. So we gave him a couple of free tickets for helping us out with advertising on a continual basis, so hopefully he'll be there. Tomo and Shaken Seafood, who donated raffle items for us. I think we have like a $50 or $100 gift certificate to Tomo's. Clear Path for Veterans New England are going to be very involved tomorrow night. So if Randy Carter is listening, get your drinks early because you're not going to be sitting down the first half of the night. We're involving you guys in a lot of what we're doing tomorrow night because you deserve it. And by the way, Randy and Jason Gilbert are both going to be helping us with some of our veteran stuff tomorrow night, and they are both John Ratka Hero Veteran Award winners. So these are 2 guys that in previous years, they didn't get it together. One got it one year, one got it a different year. I just want to say this like as a side note. It's really nice for me when I'm in the room and I look around and some of the people who are presenting scholarships or presenting awards are people that themselves have gotten an award or a scholarship in a previous year. And, a lot of times we'll give an award to somebody at my bash and then we'll never see them again. And that's fine. Like, we don't hold it against them. But it's really special when they come back and say we want to help. And so we have a lot of people like Jason and Randy who have done yeoman's work for homeless veterans. And so we're going to involve them very heavily tomorrow night. Also want to thank Pleasant Valley Landscaping. Dave Id Consoli gave money for our scholarships, and I believe he's going to be there. And hopefully he's going to bring his wife, too. She's wonderful, and she's a great cook, by the way. She cooked me dinner one night. It was awesome. Actually, she cooked me dinner 2 nights, and it was awesome. You really can't get any better than David's wife's food. I mean, you just can't. And JG's Ice Cream, a free shout-out for those guys. I don't know if they're coming, but they gave us $500 for a scholarship. And they always, every time I call them for anything, it doesn't even matter what it is, Before I'm even done asking, they're like, sure, Tom, whatever you need, you just let us know. So we love those guys. All right, so let me pull up our scholarship totals. I want to start off. Do you remember what our scholarship totals were last week by any chance?
We were just a hair off of 40 grand. We were literally, I think we were $20 shy of 40,000.
40? I thought we were at 30 something. No? Am I remembering that wrong?
Let me check. I just had it in front of me. Maybe I've got that wrong.
All right.
No, 39,855.
All right, you were
and
right.
then while we were doing the show, you had a couple more, and that's what we were saying, because we were $20 shy of hitting the mark for one of the for the Methuen scholarship. We were $20 away from hitting the $5,000 goal for the Methuen scholarship.
And that Methuen scholarship, well, I'll talk about when we get to
Yeah.
it. So let's take a look at these numbers. So while we were sitting here, I got in another about maybe $500 in scholarships money. Wait, here's another one that just came in.
Awesome.
All right. So, yeah, so this is going to be about 500 higher.
All right. So before we show it, I just want to
Absolutely.
remind everyone that obviously all lines are still open for donating. And if you look at the bottom of your screen right now, scrolling across are all the different ways that you can donate if you want to. I just want to remind everyone.
That's a great reminder. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, we're still taking money for all these amazing scholarships and all these amazing people. So yeah, we've got Cash App, PayPal. What else is in there? I think there's a whole bunch. Venmo. Yeah. So all the details are scrolling through the bottom of the screen throughout the whole show. So if you want to donate, please do.
So when we leave today, when I finish and I go off the air, I've got to do a couple of errands, but we're going to have another tote board because I'm pretty sure with what just came in, we broke 46,000. But right now we're at. So let's look at this total. First, look at the bottom number. Holy shit! Can you believe that? Now last year's total was, and we pulled it up last week, somewhere in the neighborhood of 33,500. It was like right around there. And that was like at the end of the night walking out. Because a lot of people show up with checks. They don't tell us they're bringing a check.
Right.
And they'll just show up and say, here's $100, give it to the Lawrence High kid or give it to the Whittier kid. And then, Sonia on the side has to like do extra math because we have to change the check, right? So when we walked out and all of that was done, we were at like 33. And I walked out and said to all of my people, enjoy the night because we're never going to do this again. I really believe that because this was the first major event in the Merrimack Valley after COVID, after the needless hysteria of COVID, and they locked down the country, and people are walking around with masks and all that craziness that was going on. And when they finally reopened the country, we were literally the first big event in the Merrimack Valley. And we weren't even sure we were going to be able to have it last year, quite frankly, because we didn't get a date for the hall until 3 weeks before the event. So in 3 weeks, we raised $33,000 last year. And again, I said, this is because people were stuck in their house for 2 years. We're never going to do this again. Unless there's another COVID, and then we got to come out of the COVID, and then maybe we can do it again. Boy, was I wrong. Holy shit. So we're now at 45,730. That's the official number, and it's going to be higher because, like I said, we've gotten more since we've gone on the air. At the top spot, these two top spots, the Dan Cody Memorial Scholarship, which was started by Al Valou, and the Lawrence High Junior ROTC Scholarship, which is named after Eugene Smith, who unfortunately will not be with us tomorrow night, but he's feeling much better. Like he was on death's door at one point about 6 months ago, and I couldn't believe how good he looked and how good he sounded when we talked to him yesterday. He's not coming, but he did give a $1,400 donation to this scholarship, which is one of the reasons why it's so high. But look at the difference here. There's only like not even $300 between the top two spots. And Kevin Druin from my bash committee has been pushing for the Lawrence High kid, and he's at battle with Nicole Cameron, which is Dan Cody's sister, who's trying to get the Cody scholarship into that top spot. If that competition keeps going and money keeps coming in today and tomorrow, like if it doesn't just die off as we get closer, one of those two kids, I'm convinced is going to hit 10 grand. I mean, they're not that far off. Cody right now is $490 away. One $500 donation, and that's $10,000. Now, our highest scholarship total ever was last year when Dan Cody's son got the scholarship. And again, we said, because it's Dan Cody's son, we're never going to do this again, right? And he walked away with about 70, don't hold me to the exact number, but it was like 7,500 or 600. It was somewhere in that neighborhood. And we thought that was just amazing. Like we broke 5,000 for the first time. No kid had ever made 5,000 in a bash. And he made about 7 something. And we were like, yeah, but that's because it's Dan Cody's kid. Next year, that will probably be at the bottom. No way. Thanks to Nicole Cameron, who was Dan Cody's sister, who ran a fundraiser at Tavern on the Merrimack, and the Clan McPherson Band, who donated $2,300 to this scholarship, and a whole bunch of other people kicked in a lot. Like I think we're well over 50 donors on this scholarship. And we're going to list them all, by the way, today or tomorrow online. We're going to list every donor and the dollar amount that they gave. So we have total transparency. Nobody can ever say that we skimmed off the top or that we didn't give money that we were supposed to give, because I've got enemies. And they are going to look for every opportunity they can to try and hurt our credibility and sabotage this bash. So that's why I do it as transparent as I do. In third place, but barely in third place, is our special needs scholarship recipient, Vanessa Del Cruz, $5,570. And then my candidate, because each one of the bash committee members took a kid and said, we're going to make phone calls for this kid and try and push this kid. Mine was Ariel Cavaretta. She's at $55.25. And I want to thank Shower Girl, who made the last donation on that of $25 to get her up. The Michelle DeLuca Benedetti scholarship is at $5,335 for Liam Robertson. The Methuen Studio 21 Podcast Cafe scholarship, $5,275. There are still a number of Methuen people that we normally hear from that we haven't heard from. And I understand that there's a big scholarship drive in Methuen going on right now, and that may be the reason for that. But I'd really like to get James Sugden, the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe sponsor. I'd love to get him up to like closer to $6,000. Like if we can get him another $400 or $500 and just get him close, that would make me happy. And then I feel really bad for Arturo Zanega, who's right now at the bottom, but not really at the bottom. I mean, all of these, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh place, they're all within $100 or so of each other. So one big donation to any one of those scholarships could catapult them into third place. And we'd love to see that. We want to see. We're trying to get I've squeezed every penny out of every person that I know to try and get there, including like a couple times. Like I made deals with people. Like, okay, fine, I'll wear like a costume to your birthday party. Like an embarrassing costume. I agreed to be Cupid. I agreed to be Cupid for somebody to wear a diaper at her costume party next month. If she gave $100 to a scholarship. So I'm wheeling and dealing left and right. Believe me when I tell you, I'm on the phone. I was on the phone so much yesterday, and my phone was plugged in all day that my battery on my phone never went above 10%. Every time I look down, I'm like, it's not even charging, but it's because I'm working 2 lines the entire day. Right. So that's our totals. Let me pull this up so that we're going in the same order here. Awards, past scholarship winners. Nope, that's the wrong folder. That's okay. You guys could take a second here. All right, here we go. Well, what happened to today? There it is. Bash 2023. So you've got the first one's Arturo, right?
Yeah, I sure do.
All right, so let's go through these. This is Arturo Zuniga. He is, nope.
Oh, let's try that again. That's all right. It decided
to
go out of order. Come on.
That's fine.
Come on.
It's the one 02.
Yeah, it doesn't want to. Let's do that.
There you go.
There he is. That's Arturo.
Arturo Zuniga. He is from Whittier Tech. He is going into plant management at Fitchburg State College. And, it's interesting because he's going to a tech school. He's going to a Voc school. And the misperception, and it was even my misperception, even though I went to a Voc, is that Voc kids don't go to college. So it's very difficult for the Greater Lawrence Tech and for the Whittier Tech kids for us to be able to raise money for them, because I routinely hear people say when I make a call, yeah, but the kid's in the Voc. Well, he's not going to college. What are you raising a scholarship for him for? And I'm like, no, this kid's going into college. He's taking plant management, and he wants to get a degree in it because he wants to be a manager. He doesn't want to just be a grunt worker the rest of his life and work construction. He wants to do something different. He wants to move up the ladder of the construction business, the plant management business. So Arturo Zuniga will be there. He's our first scholarship winner. I don't think we're doing him. We're doing him first. He'll be the first one of the night, actually. And then the next one, we have James Sugden. He is from Methuen High School. And he is our Studio 21 Podcast Cafe Scholarship winner, thanks to Dave Garofalo, our buddy, right here at Two Guys Smoke Shop. And that picture is actually in the program, so make sure you grab one when you guys get there. We love Dave. Dave started this scholarship. He came to me 3 or 4 years ago after my show, and he said, I want to start a scholarship for a kid going into video production or media management. Yeah. And I said, I don't know. That's kind of like a really specific type of scholarship. I don't know if we'll be able to find a kid 2 years in a row, Jana Di Natale, formerly of the Methuen School Committee, has found us 2 amazing kids, and James is our second one. We appreciate that. Brianna Trackenberger last year was our first ever, so there's that. And then who's the next one? Is this Ariel Cavaretta? This is my candidate, Ariel Cavaretta.
That's right. It's just going out of
That's
order.
okay.
You can even technology.
You can even if it gets too cumbersome, just kill the pictures. I'll just breeze through them. That's fine. Whatever you want to do.
All right.
You're the best, baby.
You can talk about Ariel, and we'll bring up.
So
that
Ariel,
picture
she's
in a
my
minute.
candidate. She was the one that I picked. Actually, Jessica Finicaro picks our Greater Lawrence Tech kids every year. And by the way, thank you to Jessica. And I feel so bad for the kid that Jessica picks, because she makes him basically run like an Olympic triathlon to get this scholarship. Like some of the people, like Scott Wood from the Haverhill School Committee, he'll call like the superintendent who's a friend of his, or assistant superintendent who's a friend of his, and have a conversation with them and tell them what my criteria is, and they'll try to come up with a kid. And then they'll bring the kid in, interview him, and either say, yeah, okay, we'll pick him or not. Jessica makes them fill out an application. She makes them do an essay. She calls their employers to make sure they show up on time.
Wow.
Like, she really vets these kids. Like this,
does.
the Voc is the one scholarship that I don't ever have to like double check. I still do because I check every kid. But like if I don't have time to get to vetting the Voc scholarship kid, I don't worry about it, because Jessica is so incredibly diligent with this. She really makes these kids go through a lot to get the scholarship, and she always picks. That process works for her because she always picks a great kid.
So there's Ariel for us.
There's
yes,
Ariel.
And we skipped over one.
Liam?
Yeah.
William Robertson?
Yep, let's go back to Liam.
He's the kid with the
This
blue. There
is
he
Liam
is.
Robertson,
Yep, there's
yeah.
Liam. He's going to be a police officer. So he's going into public safety, and he got the Michelle DeLuca Benedetti Scholarship.
Yeah.
Michelle DeLuca was... she's the sister of a friend of mine that I hung around with when I was in high school, Ken DeLuca. And when she passed away a few years ago, Ken came to my office and said he wanted to do a scholarship in her memory. And you know what, Ken? Probably one of the best decisions you ever made, because Michelle DeLuca Benedetti has gotten more publicity on my Facebook page in just in the last couple of months. You don't have to ever worry about anybody forgetting Michelle. Right? Any of the people that these scholarships are named after, like this one and the Phil Glendine, we're really doing yeoman's work. My committee's done yeoman's work to keep the name alive for the people who these scholarships are named after. Who's next? What do you got next? We got Vanessa de la Cruz Sanchez, whose name should be way longer. I don't know why Latinos give themselves 9 names. Like one of my business partners, his name is Santiago Reyes Cruz Jr. And I'm like, well, can't you just say Santiago Cruz or Santiago Reyes? Like, do you have to have 9 names?
What's the matter?
I don't know what it is with these Latinos. They gotta have 9 names for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Everyone likes to be different.
I guess, but it's not convenient for me. And you should always, when these things happen, you always have to keep in the back of your mind, how is this going to be convenient or inconvenient for Tom?
Of
right?
course. How could I? Terrible.
Like, come on. So she's our special needs scholarship, and this is the second year we're doing this one. Yep. And we've named this scholarship last year after Phil Glendine. Let's pull his picture up and hold it up there for a couple seconds. I love this guy. Phil was a teacher at Lawrence High School. He worked in various schools. And for 25 years, he ran the Special Olympics at the Veterans Memorial Stadium. And I went down once a year to this event every year and videotaped it, went live on Facebook, took pictures, put them in the paper. But you know what you never understood, what you never got to see from the pictures and the video and the lives is the best time of my life going to this event, and not because it was special needs kids winning stuff and feeling good about themselves. I would go to watch Phil because he was like a kid in a fucking candy store. This guy was the happiest guy in the world. Those kids loved him. He walked into the stadium and he would get a group hug from about 40 kids all at once. And they all knew him by name, and he knew them by name, and their parents and their teachers. And he really worked one-on-one with so many of these special needs kids that there's no way that we could do a special needs scholarship for a Lawrence High kid and not name it after Phil Glendine. His either wife or sister. I always screw it up, and I apologize, Linda. But I can never remember if she's his wife or his sister. And I apologize. But she's going to be there tomorrow night. And the Lawrence High Alumni Association has a table tomorrow night. because Phil was a member of the Lawrence High Alumni Association. Phil was just, there's like, we all have friends that we love, right? But then there's always like that one guy that that is just really kind of special, and that was Phil. And when he passed away a couple of years ago, it was like, when I got the call, I was like, oh, that was almost as bad as when I found out John Radke had passed away. I was like, man, if God's going to take anybody, why would he take that guy? Like, I can think of 100 people off the top of my head he should be taken first, and he took that guy. So to Phil and his family, and to all the people at Lawrence High who loved Phil, and all the parents of all the special needs people who loved Phil, we're doing this for you guys, and it's going to be really special for Vanessa. We're getting her at least $5,000. We'd like to get it up to $6,000, but we've at least broken the $5,000, which we didn't think we'd do. We didn't think any of these kids were going to make $5,000 this year. Who's next? Who do we got next? Who's next on the program? Did we get them all?
Yeah.
No, here we go.
No, we got.
All right, so she's in second place, but not by a lot. And boy, this girl's. I love her, and I love her parents. Her parents are so grateful. This is Geraldine Morales, whose name I spelled wrong for about a week and a half on Facebook. I apologize. Not only she's getting this scholarship, but our canine columnist, Kane, who writes a column for us every month. He's a German Shepherd. You see him up there on the screen. There he is. He went and he interviewed her for this edition of the Valley Patriot. So if you grab the paper this month, you'll see his interview with Geraldine Morales. And so when we give this award out, Kane's going to be there.
Oh.
So when we give this award out, we're going to ask Kane to do the presentation, and we're going to see if maybe he can give her the check. We're going to put the check in his mouth and see, because we're training him now to see if we can get him to do it.
Oh, that'd be
we
great.
love Kane. Kane is our official mascot at the Valley Patriot, and it's going to be a lot of fun to have him in the room. She's way at the top. She's like a couple $100 out of first place, and I'd love to see her break 10,000. She's close, but we'd love to see her break 10,000. And by the way, she's getting the Lawrence High scholarship, which we used to just give to a Lawrence High kid. We'd call Chris Eldridge at the alumni and say, give us the kid at the bottom of the list. If you have 35 scholarships you're giving out, give me the kid that's 36 that would get the next one if you got another donation. And then we met Eugene. Let's bring Eugene up. Yep. Eugene sits on the board with me at the Lawrence Lions Club. I'm the president of the Lawrence Lions Club. He sits on my board, and he's an 84-year-old Korean War veteran who is really a super guy and really cares about the community. And he said to me a couple of years ago, Tom, I love what you're doing at Lawrence High School, but I'd really like to see your scholarship go to an ROTC kid. So what if I donate $1,400 every year if you rename this for a ROTC kid? And I said, 84-year-old veteran, Korean War vet, why don't we name the scholarship after him?
Yeah.
Let's call it the Eugene Smith Lawrence High Junior ROTC Scholarship. So we did. Again, he's not going to make it this year, but he is doing much better. I was very impressed yesterday when we talked to him. And hopefully every year, and someday he's going to pass away, probably long before I do, long after I do. I'm probably going to go long before he does. But someday he's probably going to pass away, and when he does, we have committed that we're going to take door money from the tickets to make up his $1,400 when he's no longer with us.
Awesome.
But next year he promises for the 20th anniversary that he's going to be in the room. And we already had it set up, too. I had people who were going to pick him up at home, bring him into the room for his scholarship, and then, he can't stay long, and then bring him home. But he let us know yesterday that he can't come. That's kind of heartbreaking, but he will be with us in spirit, and we love that guy. He really is a good guy. Yeah. And this is, that's Kim Ryland you got up on there for the Dan Cody Scholarship. They're in first place, and boy, what a competition that's been. So Kim Ryland is a North Andover high school senior. He's going to be graduating. Andrew McDevitt, one of our friends on the North Andover School Committee, worked with Greg Gilligan, the superintendent of the North Andover schools. And as a side note, superintendents generally don't like me. And public school educators generally don't like me because I'm very rough on them because most of them don't do their job, at least not adequately. But Superintendent Gilligan, for some reason, does. And I think it's because he was the assistant principal at the Thompson when my girls were going to Thompson. And we got to work together pretty good back then, so I think we have a great relationship. He came by my office the other day just randomly to drop off a check for, I think it was $150 or $175 for the Kim Ryland Scholarship, and we really appreciate that. And that picture on your screen is the guy that we named the scholarship after. And we did it because Al Valou, who knew Dan Cody, came to my office the day after he died and said, I know your bash is in 2 weeks. Do we have time to add a scholarship? And I'm never going to say no to Al Valou because he does so much for us. So I said, sure, we don't have a lot of time to raise money, so we're not going to probably have a lot of money for him, but let's put him on the scholarship. And he, I think he was the top. That was the year before Patrick got it. I think he was the top kid who got it that year. We raised a lot of money. There's a lot of people out there who knew Dan Cody, who loved Dan Cody, who know the Cody family. And the woman in that picture with him is his sister, Nicole, who is now officially a member of our bash committee. And she's also, I roped her in to be on the Lawrence Lions Club, too. So I figured she's a doer. Whenever I find a doer in the community, somebody who actually, doesn't have meetings for meetings, but actually goes out and does shit, I always try to capitalize on that and rope them into our network and say, there's so many people who talk the talk, but when it comes time to doing stuff, they're totally, they're missing. It's like crickets. You can't find them. You don't know where they are. Mm-hmm. It's a different excuse. Oh, my mother was sick. I couldn't. Oh, geez, I had to work late. Nicole, you tell her something needs to be done, and she gets it done, and so we appreciate her. Where do we go next? We're going to go to the cops
Police
next?
officers, yeah.
All right, so the one you've got up here, can we pull them together or just one at a time? Whatever's easier for you.
I was going to get one at a time.
Oh, that's fine. So this is Methuen police officer. Isn't that awful? And I was actually just going to say it, right? Mm-hmm. I know it's Chavon. I just want to make sure I get his name right. Isn't that awful? Believe me, I've had literally no sleep in the last 2 days, so it's not that I don't know who these people are. It's just
well, why don't you name them both?
My brain's not working right. Okay, so here we go. Right, so the guy on your
right,
do they see it opposite of what we see, left and right? No.
So on the right is Chavon.
So on the right we have Kevin Chavon, who's a former Lawrence police officer, and there's a backstory to that I love, and I know he took a lot of crap for some of the stuff that went on in Lawrence. But he's a good guy, and he's an honest guy. He's a whistleblower. And Police Chief McNamara transferred him in from Lawrence over to Methuen because when Mac became the chief in Methuen, he recognized that Kevin Chavoni is a amazing police officer and has incredible integrity. And because of his integrity, he was getting a lot of shit in Lawrence by some of his fellow officers. So they brought him over to Methuen, thank God, because I understand he fits in really, really well. I understand he's one of the most liked guys in that department. And you know how I know that? Is that when I posted his picture that he was going to get an award, I instantly got a phone call from Platoon 2 and the Methuen Police Superior Officers Union saying they wanted 5 tables. Okay. And I don't think we've ever had Methuen Police, even when Joe Solomon was here, I don't think we had 5 tables for the Methuen Police. So the other officer, the one that's to your left, is James Keating, and they were both involved in an incident, a riot, at the Elixir Lounge in Methuen, and that's the reason why they were nominated by Eric DeLeon. I think he's a Sergeant Eric DeLeon who will be there, and we'll be calling him up to have him help us present the award to them. We do have some other awards, but we can't talk about them because the people getting the awards don't know.
It's a secret.
Normally, the cops don't know either, but in order to get them there, the chief had to tell them because the night of our bash tomorrow night, I guess the cops and the firefighters go out to Arizona once a year for this big golf tournament.
Oh, yep.
And these two guys are usually part of that. So he had to tell them to make sure that they were here for the award, which is why we're naming them. We also have a Lawrence firefighter that we're honoring. We have 2 members of the community. They're going to get the Scott Clegg. I used to call him Clug as a joke when he was alive, Scott Clegg. So the Scott Clegg Public Service Award for people that go out into the community selflessly and help people, but that's not the only reason why they get the award. This specific award I give to people who don't look for credit. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, but we all know who they are, who will go out and find a homeless person and hand them a sandwich and do a selfie so everybody on Facebook can see how nice they are.
Yeah.
Those are not the people getting this award. This award is for the people who go out and feed people who are homeless or help veterans or help the elderly or do something good in the community and don't want to be thanked. So much so that one of the people getting this award, we had to make sure nobody on the bash committee knew. Because if this person got word of the award, they wouldn't show up tomorrow night because they do not want to be thanked. They just want to quietly do what they do, and they get the personal satisfaction of just doing it. They're not looking for thanks. They're not looking for praise. They don't want to be on Facebook. They don't want awards. So we're going to give them both an award tomorrow night because they don't want an award. And that, to me, that's what makes it special.
Yeah.
Right? You get these other people out there that they look at me, I'm doing great things. And both of these people that are getting the Scott Clegg Award tomorrow are not. We also have a Lifetime Achievement Award for Marcos Devers, and I don't mind saying that publicly because he doesn't watch my show. I know during the day he does he's an engineer, so he does engineering stuff during the day.
Right.
And he's not capable of doing the Facebook, Twitter thing. He's not really competent in that kind of stuff. And we've got a couple of other awards too. But let me tell you something. If that wasn't enough for you guys to come to my bash tomorrow night at the Fireman's Relief Inn starting at 7 o'clock, if that wasn't enough, awards for police officers, firefighters, and veterans, scholarships for 9 kids, 2 that we're not talking about. If all of that wasn't enough, if all of that wasn't enough for you guys to come and have fun with us, besides the fact that there's going to be a free meal from Salvatore's, we've got a raffle that is going to rival any raffle you've ever seen before in your life. Let's pull up the first item. Yeah, so the first item is actually 2 items. So George Niang is a basketball player for the Philadelphia 76ers, NBA basketball player. He's from Methuen originally. Mm-hmm. We know his mom, Allison. She's actually coming. She bought a couple of tickets online. I saw her name last night. And that made me really excited because I love her, and I really want her to be in the room and have fun with us. He signed a NBA Philadelphia 76ers game jersey and because he played NCAA basketball before he was a pro ball player, he signed an NCAA basketball, and we're selling tickets for this. Now we've got a couple of different raffle options. We are going to have a shit ton of gift baskets that you can buy raffle tickets for, and then we have these big ticket items. So we're only selling 100 tickets. You can get them now, even if you're not coming to the bash. You can order them now. You can use any of my Venmo, PayPal options that you see on your screen. Tickets are $25. We are only selling 100 tickets. When 100 tickets are gone, that's it. We're not selling any more tickets. And then at some point during my keynote speech in the middle of the program tomorrow night, when we get to that midway mark, I'm going to personally pull the ticket for whoever is going to win that, and I'm going to do it right in front of everybody with the cameras and everything, so nobody can say, because if I pull it and my mom wins, what's going to happen, right? They're going to go, oh, it's your mom. So we're going to do it in front of everybody. We're going to shake the bag. We're going to do it right. $25 for a raffle ticket. You do not have to be in the room. Everything else you do, by the way, all the other raffle stuff, you got to be in the room. Not for these 2 that we're going to talk about. For the George Niang basketball, the George Niang game jersey by the Philadelphia 76ers, $25 a ticket. I believe we've sold 26 tickets already. Awesome. And that's thanks to Nancy and her daughter have been calling people because they know George personally. So they know people that know George. So they're trying to get all their friends in on this, which is great. If we have not sold 100 tickets by the beginning of the bash, people at the bash will be allowed to buy tickets. All right, so that's the first one. And I don't know what the dollar value is on that. You sports people will know that way better than me. Is that $37 really? Yeah. All right. We'll breeze through this quick. Sorry. So I don't know what the value of this is. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably $600 or $700 for a game jersey and an NCAA basketball. And we've got another raffle item that was going to be big ticket item that's also available online. An Adam Vinatieri football. You remember Adam Vinatieri, the guy that kicked the football during the snowstorm? I know. It's Jaina. Desperately wants this football. I've sold 1 ticket to this football. So if you want this football, if you want a signed Adam Vinatieri, and it's in a case, you can see the case there. If you want the Adam Vinatieri signed football from the New England Patriots, $25 for a ticket. Otherwise, I know what's going to happen. Jaina's going to walk into the room. Jaina is going to walk into the room. That's why we say it's Jaina, right? Jaina. And she's going to see that only one person bought a ticket. And she's going to buy $100 worth of tickets to make sure that she wins it. Yeah. And then she's going to end up walking out of that at the end of the night. So if you don't want It's Jaina to win this, then you need to be buying tickets for this football. All right. So what else do we have? Nothing? We're good? That's it. All right. We've got
donation lines are still open. We just want to remind everyone again, look at the bottom of your screen right now. If you're listening to us, well, go to YouTube and look at the video then. Mm-hmm. There is all the donation ways, Venmo, PayPal. What was the other one again?
Venmo,
PayPal,
Cash App.
Cash App. I mean, there is ways to I think it might be a little too late to mail a check in. Right. We have those options.
Right. By the way, if we get a check after the bash, last year we got quite a few. We got about almost 1,000. Well, it was probably about 500. worth of checks after the bash. And they weren't checks that were pledged. Like if you call me today and say I want to give $100 to a certain scholarship, I will thank you on Facebook and add it to the total even though I don't have the check.
Yeah.
And then if I get the check, then that's fine. We just deposit it. But if you haven't pledged it, there are people who will walk in the room tomorrow night and hand somebody a check for $100 and say, give it to this scholarship. We have to add it in the room. So we are accepting donations all the way up until the time we present the check. But if after the bash we get a check, we will thank the person online, we will add it to the total, and I will personally make sure it gets to the kid. And we'll add it to our tote board so that next year when we start, we know what we ended off with last year, and we know what our goal is going to be. I want to thank George Niang and his mom Allison for helping us out. I also want to thank Bob Westcott from Copy Labs, who every single year prints our programs for free. And believe me, that's expensive because this is a 40-page color program. And it really should have been 60 pages, but I cut a lot out because I know Bob does these by hand. And it's a lot of work for him. And so I tried to keep that in mind when I put the program together. I also want to thank, I know we're over, I'm sorry. I also want to thank Royal House of Roast Beef in Methuen for a $1,000 sponsorship. I want to thank Broadway Tire for I believe it was a $500 sponsorship. I want to thank K9 Kevin for a $500 sponsorship. TMF for a $500 scholarship. And we want to thank Henry's Jewelry and Awards. Every year they donate their profit on the award. So these awards that we're giving out, normally you're going to spend about $200 or $300 for an award that's of this quality. Yeah. They charge us like $100 each. They charge us their cost for the materials, and they do the work for free for us. They're going to be with us tomorrow night. I want to thank Eric and everyone at the Henry's Jewelry and Award. And Mike Agricola and Phil Wood from Salvatore's is catering tomorrow night's dinner at zero cost. And Mike says to me every year I say to him, let me at least give you some money for your costs. Like you have to pay for the food, right? Like let me give you something. And Michael says to me every single year, no, because if you do that, it's going to be less money for the kids. So we want to do it for free. And so we want to thank him. There's a lot of other people that we'll be thanking in the room that night. I definitely wanted to make sure that we got all of those out of the way, and that we did it before the event, especially the Firefighters Relief Inn. Can't thank them enough. And everybody that's contributing, everybody that's helping in some little way. We got a big raffle item from Bob Murdoch today. It's a signed football and I don't have it in front of me, by a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He lives in West Newbury, apparently, and I just didn't have time to put that together for the show. So I want to thank Bob Murdoch and everybody, including Chrissy, who's going to be there tomorrow night, and Dave Garofalo. I want to thank my bash committee, who has probably gotten as little sleep as I have. They're all working very hard this last couple of weeks. And next week when we come in, I'm not going to talk about the bash the whole show, or maybe I will, I don't know, depending on what happens, I guess. Yeah. We're going to try and get back to a normal schedule here. But Angel Garcia is going to be our photographer for free tomorrow night. And also Tom Spitaleri and everybody at Lawrence Cable Access is going to be coming to videotape the night, and they're going to run it on Cable Access when it's over. So there will be video of the event. And anybody that wants to take pictures or video at the event tomorrow and post it, please use the hashtag VPBash19. So when it's over, we can search for that term, and we can find all your pictures and photos and share them out to everybody and show everybody what a great time we had. All right, I know we're 3 minutes over. I want to thank our sponsors, McLennan Real Estate, Century 21, AFC Urgent Care. Lisa Williams is going to be with us tomorrow night, and she's sitting with me on stage. I said, you know what, Lisa, you've been so good to us. She gave us $1,000 for the Haverhill Scholarship, $1,000 for the Whittier Scholarship. She purchased a table. She donated raffle items. She donated some wine bottles. And she has called me every day and said, what do you need? What can I do to help? Like, do you need me to pick something up? Do you need me to go pick up a check, drop off tickets? So she's going to sit with us up on stage tomorrow night, as well as her daughter. We want to thank her. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Dave Consoli, Pleasant Valley Landscaping, Borelli's Deli, Tomo and Shaken Seafood. We're going to see all of you guys tomorrow night. And if you think I'm excited now, wait till you see me in the room. This is going to be something special. Oh, yeah. This is something people talk about all year. All year people talk about this event. And if you come tomorrow night, you'll start to understand why. Yeah. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Dave Garofalo, for all that you've done for us. Not just letting us do the show, but participating in the bash every year. Of course. Melvin Taylor won't be joining us, but hopefully he'll be well enough next year to come. In the meantime, he says you got to go home, right? So go home already.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.